those of you guys, I'm going to give a brief overview because I know this may be a little bit repetitive to those of you who have already been keeping up with the news or watching our show or other political commentators. But for those of you guys who are kind of confused or in the dark as to what's happening, I'll give a brief overview. Last night at around, or actually technically, I guess this morning at around 1 or 2 a.m. Eastern time, there were strikes in Tehran. Israel had announced that they had struck Tehran and they shut down their own airspace and advised their own citizens to take cover in safe rooms or bomb shelters. So they launched a joint attack with the United States in which Donald Trump posted to Truth Social for an address, and they pretty much desecrated all of the key military standpoints in Tehran. And in those strikes ended up what I'm seeing now, and this is what's developing, assassinating Ayatollah Khamenei, Ali Khamenei. If you guys aren't familiar with him, he's the supreme leader, the religious authority over Iran. And so in these strikes, not only did they assassinate, yeah, you can pull him up on screen. Yeah. So in these strikes, not only did they assassinate him, but they also probably got rid of a lot of key military figures in the leadership as well, I'm assuming, because whoever was around him had to have been of some importance as well. And this, of course, provoked a response from Iran, in where they struck not only Israel, that's him right there on the screen, if you guys can see, that's Ali Khamenei, Grand Ayatollah. So in the response that Iran had set out for Israel, they responded not only to Israel with their ballistic missiles campaign, which we knew what was coming, but they actually struck 7 or 8 Gulf countries. So that would be Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain, UAE, Saudi Arabia, Iraq, and which one am I missing here? There was one more, Jordan. Mm-hmm. So 7 countries in the Gulf. They took pretty much almost the Gulf, and they hit all of the United States military bases in these countries. They kind of aimed at some civilian infrastructure, especially in the UAE as well as Dubai and Abu Dhabi. So if you go on Twitter, you can see a bunch of that on your timeline. So right now where we are is Iran is still unleashing its military barrage of missiles onto these Gulf countries, whilst simultaneously attacking Israel, Tel Aviv, Haifa, and other provinces as well. Now, what's happening on the ground in Israel and in the air is a little bit skewed, of course, because Western media is a lot more reluctant to post that kind of stuff and report on it. And so what we're having to do is go in Telegram channels and find out what's going on the ground in Israel. But from what I'm gathering here, and you let me know if you agree, Myron, it seems like Israel is not really, look, they're getting barraged and they're getting assaulted badly and they're dealing with a lot of damage in infrastructure, but it seems like the United States and Israel has good control over the situation. And not only have they decapitated leadership, but they obviously have the upper hand when it comes to air superiority. Although this is a long game, for right now, it seems like they've kind of dealt the brunt of force to start off the war. But again, it's a war, it's not a battle. So we'll see what happens over the next few days. But right now, it seems like the Western powers and their ally and their key partnership is kind of taking a little bit more of a hedge than the IRGC, at least for right now. That's kind of like the brief overview and where we've gotten to.
Okay. Real quick, can you read your super chats? I'm compiling the list right now of all the people that were killed and who they are. I'm pulling up all their Wikipedia pages right now for everybody. You know what? Do me a favor. Give them a quick summary on the failed talks at Geneva as well, because that was like, that's one of the bullshit that they used to justify also striking them.
Yeah. So for context, and this is all in retrospect, we're realizing this now. We didn't know as things were happening in tandem or chronologically, but now we can see in the grand scheme of things, it seems that the United States and Israel plan to kind of undermine Iran, and these talks were all for no reason rather than to just really show face. And we ended up striking them again anyways this morning. But we had talks with Israel, first of all being in Oman. This was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, about a month ago. And in these peace talks, we had our military envoy for the Middle East, Stephen Witkoff, and Jared Kushner, who represent Donald Trump, in meeting with IRGC official members, as well as other key figures in the Iranian government and political figures, to come to some sort of terms. The issue is obviously, what are those terms? What are the stipulations? What is America bringing to the table? What are the non-negotiables? For us, we kept moving the goalposts, and we'll kind of get to why that's the case later. I'll break this all down so you guys understand clearly. But we moved the goalposts. We're talking about, well, you need to get rid of your missiles program, and then you need to get rid of your proxy program. If you guys don't know, Iran has a very powerful proxy program located in southern Lebanon as well as North Yemen. Those are really the major threats, as well as some of them in Iraq as well. And so the United States is telling Israel, you've got to get rid of these proxies. You've got to do something about this, as well as pretty much halting your nuclear program, promising us you're not going to make a bomb. At the same time, we're also telling them you've got to shut down the ballistic missiles program. And Benjamin Netanyahu even proposed that for the missiles program, they have to shorten the distance in which their missiles can travel.
So 300 kilometers, which is fucking retarded. Useless.
Yeah, which is literally missiles not going to be able to even leave the province of Iran with that kind of distance. As we know, Iran is a very large area and landmass. And so, of course, these are unrealistic terms. We're making maximalist demands in a situation situation where a country already doesn't trust us because we've tarnished the peace agreement that we previously made with them under the Obama administration. And so they already know that this Trump administration is pro-Israel. It's there to undermine them, and it's there to eventually decapitate their power and their leadership authority and their structure and take power or plant our own planned president there, who looks like he's, the Shah intercessor or the predecessor of the Shah. His name is Reza Pahlavi. And so we had these talks.
Some retard is saying old news now. Hey, dumbass, we're recapping everything, you stupid fuck. Niggas are
we're just doing a quick recap.
We're literally doing a recap,
overview.
Dumbass.
And so
stupid nigga in the kick
we had the talks in Oman, and then we moved to Geneva to have those talks again. And I believe in the second round of Geneva talks, we got nowhere. And it seems like we couldn't come up with any agreement. That was at some point last week. And of course, everybody was kind of ready for some sort of military intervention in the Middle East. And a lot of countries started gearing up. The United Kingdom had pulled out a lot of their personnel from the embassies. The United States started clearing out their military bases. A lot of countries in Europe started preparing in different ways. And so it was evident that a strike was pretty much imminent, but we didn't know when and what time exactly. But Israel made it very apparent when they attacked this morning at 2 a.m. in Tehran. So it's important to realize Donald Trump, or not Donald Trump, but rather J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio were set out to go to Israel next week. I doubt that's the case anymore, being the fact that it'd be a huge security threat. But they proposed to Iran that they proposed to the world rather that they would be in Israel next week. So this just kind of goes to say that they were undermining the IRGC, the entire Iranian Revolutionary Guard is what that is, and had a plan on striking them this entire time. And they say it was preemptive, but it absolutely wasn't. And so that's kind of the situation with the peace talks. It was just kind of a strategic thing to lull them to sleep to eventually strike them. I've got chats here. I can read these, and then you're still getting set up.
Yeah, I got it ready. I can quickly go over. So guys, here's a quick overview of the people that were killed. Give me 1 sec. I'll show you guys this real fast. Where the hell do I have this? Okay, so right here. So first, obviously, we know, right? Obviously, Khamenei, right, was the first person. Well, he got killed a couple hours ago, but this is the supreme leader of Iran. Then they also lost this guy right here, Ali Shamkhani. This dude was the Iranian naval officer and a politician who served the Secretary of Supreme National Security Council of Iran. So they got him as well. Let's see. They got Mohammed Pakur. He was an Iranian military officer who served as the commander of the IRGC, right? So they got him. And then they got Aziz Nasir-Zeda, who basically, this guy was the Iranian Minister of Defense in the government of the Masoud Pezeshkian from 2024 to 2026. So basically, they hit a bunch of, high-ranking military officials to include the supreme leader, right? Let's see here. Oh, yeah, here they are from the Situation Room, it looks like. This is probably in Mar-a-Lago. Here you go. 2026 Israeli United States strikes on Iran. And here he is. It looks like, I think this looks like Mar-a-Lago. Here he is with Susie Wiles, right here. Marco Rubio, Secret Service himself. And he had recorded he recorded the video wearing this outfit. So, and I think he pre-recorded, and it's called Operation Epic Fury. So, and they're bombing all over the country right now. Now, from what I understand from multiple sources, is their goal was to get as many of these guys in one location as possible to do the strike. That's what they were waiting on for. So that's what they were literally building resources there for a while, and they were using their intelligence assets to try to figure out when they were actually going to strike. And that's how they ended up with getting all four of these guys. Obviously, Khomeini, this guy, Ali Shamkhani, Mohammed Pakur, and then obviously this is them at the Situation Room and everything else like that in Mar-a-Lago. Now, here's a list of what's transpired, guys, over the past couple of hours, right? So Iran and Iraqi militias have basically targeted Al Udeid Air Base in Qatar. You guys know that's the biggest air base in the Middle East. NSA Bahrain, that's a naval location of Bahrain. Al Dhafra Base in the UAE, Prince Sultan Base in Saudi Arabia, Ali Al Salam Base in Kuwait, American base in Erbil, Iraqi Kurdistan, the Mufaq al-Sulti Air Base in Jordan, radar systems in Bahrain, radar systems in Qatar, UAE Airport, Bahrain Airport, launched missiles over 50 different times towards Israel, multiple impacts in Israel, visual confirmation of a ship being struck, likely an Israeli Navy ship, suicidal drones impacting multiple infrastructure and high-value properties across the Gulf, UAE, Bahrain, and Qatar, over 120 Israeli casualties, one dead Emirati, drone strikes in Erbil, Iraqi Kurdistan. And then on the U.S. side, they've gotten, obviously, the Supreme Leader leader Ali Khamenei, assassination of 6 senior Iranian military figures. I showed you guys 3 or 4 of them. 900 plus strikes in Iran, 100 plus dead civilians, an all-age girls' school was struck, and over 80 people were killed. I'm confident that this school that they bombed, chat, there was probably a high-ranking military official there. That's what I'm willing to bet as to why they struck it. Then you got multiple Iranian missile bases were struck. The Iranian Ministry of Defense building was struck. Iranian presidential palace was struck. The Iranian Supreme Leader's office was struck. Mass airstrikes throughout Iran. Air superiority almost fully achieved, according to Israeli estimates. So
they've got full control of the air now.
I don't. Well, do they? Because I know that they've been having
in Iran,
issues with
the United States has a good deal. I'm reading in a lot of different places that the United States has a good deal of control of the air in Iran.
Okay. Hold on. I don't know why my camera's acting like that, but whatever. So basically, I could stop sharing now. Hold on. What the fuck? Okay, there we go. Okay. Go ahead, bro. You said you want to, so guys, that's like an update of the past 20 hours or so. So there's been damage on both sides. From what I understand, the Iranians haven't used their most sophisticated missiles yet. They're using things from the back of the stockpile, especially to hit the Gulf states, because the Gulf states are pretty much sitting ducks where they're at. But yeah, go ahead, Riyad. Do you have anything that you want to say?
Yeah, no. So a lot of people and kind of U.S. legacy media is getting their head twisted up and thinking that they've got the upper hand now and things are nearing the end. But I would say that it's definitely the opposite of that. I think that this is still going to be long-winded. The reason why is because it's pretty obvious Iran has not actually pulled out any of their serious military capabilities or assets just yet. And the reason why is because they have a large stockpile of these missiles. They have so many in reserve. And so what we're seeing up front, basic, war 101 military tactics, what we're seeing up front is probably not going to be their best stuff. And so Israel is still on high alert. Sirens are sounding every single, like 20, 30 minutes. I'm getting here news reports on X. And so it seems as if though they're still hitting Israel hard. And I think as time progresses, the strikes are going to get even worse as they narrow down the focus into Israel and pull away from these Gulf states. I'll read some chats really quick and then we can kind of get into the nitty gritty. I saw a development, by the way, and we'll get into this, but I saw a development that the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia actually wanted Trump to strike Iran. Were you able to see that?
I did see that behind closed doors, they told him to strike, but they're probably they're probably regretting that shit now, though.
Yeah, they probably are. But interestingly enough, I predicted that. I had said that Saudi Arabia would have some sort of interest in an Iranian war or a conflict with Israel and the United States because it would open up the region for them to gain control, which they so desperately wanted from the UAE and other partners in the Middle East. So that wasn't surprising. But let's see here. I got to chat. Okay, 213 kill zone. Is it 100% that the Supreme Leader is cooked? Yes, he's cooked. He's dead. Johnny Las Vegas, here comes the Muslim copium. Okay, bro, you sound like you're pro-war. Ken Rose, thank you so much for the $5. All right, thanks.
People also got to know that Khamenei wasn't really involved in day-to-day conflict situations. Number one, he put 4 different layers, right, of secession. At least from what we know, it could be more than that. And then number 2, he's more of a symbolic leader. Him dying isn't really going to change too much when it comes to the resistance and the IRGC, whatever. If anything, the CIA warned Trump that killing Khamenei is actually it could backfire. CIA literally warned him that that it doesn't really it could create more issues because
strategically. Yeah, go ahead.
No, go ahead. You good?
No, you're right. Strategically, the reason why killing Khamenei it doesn't really do anything or achieve anything is because one, Iran has martyrdom culture, and so when you kill these leaders or you decapitate these military officials, you do nothing except charge up the IRGC and all the other provinces around the country who support the military, because it's not just people who hate the IRGC. There's actually a lot of people who are in support of regime or in support of the regime against the United States, meaning maybe they don't like the regime that much, but they have a vested interest in the regime defeating and fighting Israel and the United States. A lot of people have this misunderstanding where they think that nobody supports the Ayatollah or the regime and they're evil and there's these monsters who behead people and hang people and whatever. You can make that argument. The reason is they are the last axis of resistance, and the Shia population in these countries, or primarily in Iran as well as Iraq, recognize this. And so that's why they have a vested interest in this regime maintaining power, because that's the last leg of support in the Middle East before Israel has complete control and autonomy over the whole region. So that's the reason as to why there's a lot of support for these military campaigns in Iran. You'll see a lot of protests on X of people shouting death to America, and then American conservatives and these pretty much neocons will say, well, look, they're saying death to America. And they're saying, because we've been destabilizing the region for the last 25 years. That's why. And another reason why it's not beneficial to decapitate leadership, at least killing Khamenei so far, are is because of the fact that the IRGC is well armed. They have a lot of personnel on ground. They still have a lot of military assets, a lot of weapons. They're being militarily supported by Russia and China. And what I'm trying to say here is if we kill the leadership, they still have a bunch of military personnel that are ready to fight. And they have successors waiting to step up to these positions because of how accustomed they are to seeing regime change in the region. They're ready for that. Iran is specifically equipped to deal with this exact situation that we're seeing. And people are going to get mad and say,
they're prepared for it since June, bro.
Iran.
Since June, since June, they've been preparing for this shit. Like,
yes,
guys,
June, they've been preparing.
Yo,
go ahead.
Because you guys got to understand, right? See, for me and my brother, we're looking at this like this doesn't matter. And because over the past 30 years, the Iranians have watched the United States and Israel destroy all of their neighbors. You understand? With decapitation strikes, with coups, with all different types of military and intelligence-based strategies to topple the government. They saw Saddam Hussein get destroyed. They saw Gaddafi get destroyed. This is a big reason why they had a nuclear program, by the way, because Saddam Hussein and Gaddafi gave up their nuclear program and were eventually destroyed anyway, right? So they understood that you need to have a line of secession and a very long line of secession, and the guy that's on camera, that's the face of the government, shouldn't be the guy that's actually making shit happen. So Khomeini is more of a religious cleric, right? That is the face and symbolic of the government, the face of the Ayatollah. However, now the people that are in charge are going to be military. We don't give a fuck about, I don't want to say we don't give a fuck about Islam, but these guys are going to be like far more militant in their approach, right? And at this point, also, the other thing that's dangerous that you guys need to understand is that this is a war for their existence, all right? This is an existential war. So someone is not going to be able to walk away from this situation, right? And if they're going to go down, they're going to make sure that Tel Aviv goes down with them, right? They're going to put as much damage into Tel Aviv as they possibly can. Guys, the reason why y'all are not seeing a lot of the damage in Israel right now is because they have strict laws in place where if they catch you taking video and trying to put it on the internet, whatever, you can go to jail for that shit. Israel's put on some extreme censorship ordinances in place to prevent people from showing what's actually getting hit, so the Iranians cannot calibrate their missiles to be more accurate in different locations all across Israel. They did this during the 12-day war too, but now they're being far more militant about it. So they already kind of been preparing for this since the 6-day war. The 12-day war, back 6 or 8 months ago. So killing the supreme leader is not really that big of a deal. Also, you're talking about people that want to die this way. like these dudes say yes, I wish I could. Bro, you gave this nigga what he wanted. He died in Ramadan, in the middle of a war against Israel.
Yeah, cutting the head off the snake is not going to do what
it's not going to do shit.
Yeah, it's going to give the United States an advantage. We can say that we won, but again, it creates another power vacuum. And let me say this because I'm looking at my chat right now, and we have a lot of dumbasses in here. And so let me make this very clear as to why my position is where it stands and why I'll never move from this position and why I continue to be vindicated from you dumbasses who have neoconservative mindsets. Let me frame this clearly. I'm going to do this once and one time only. Let me say this because I'm looking at the United States is the strongest country in the world currently. 100% full stop. There's no doubt about that. If we continue to support Israel in their military campaigns against their adversaries in the Middle East that so precisely balance the power of that region and prevent them from taking full control of that region, which is what they want to do. If you look at their own ideology, if they look at their own motivations, what they want to do and what they plan on doing is taking the Golan Heights and a lot more province in Syria, taking southern Lebanon, taking the Sinai from Egypt, taking Gaza, annexing the West Bank. Israel wants total control over that region. If they get that control and we don't have that control, not only are they going to have autonomy over the most influential region in the world right now, that being the Middle East, but they also will have direct access to not Iran, China and Russia as well. And they can closely align with them, or the other Gulf countries can closely align with them. The bigger point I'm trying to make here, the United States militarily supporting Israel and helping them decapitate leadership in opposing countries will put the United States in a less advantageous position moving forward in the future to have power, because we no longer have a situation where we can step into two opposing countries and say, say, hey, look, we can work this out. We can issue diplomacy. Now we're going to give one country complete autonomy, and that's going to give them a lot more power to oppose us if they ever so decide, which is Israel. On top of that, who knows why Trump is doing what he's doing? It could be because of blackmail with nukes. It could be because Benjamin Netanyahu is calling up the White House and he's calling up Washington and he's saying, look, if you don't do a joint strike with us, we don't care. We're going to strike without you. Do you want a country who talks to our leadership that way? Because he likely does. Do you want a country who talks to our leadership that way to gain full hegemony over the Middle East? Yeah, you won't see a very balanced power structure in the world in the next 40 to 50 years. It's not about being pro-Islam. It's not, I can give a fuck about Iran. Let that be very clear. I could give a fuck. I don't care about the supreme leader. I don't have any vested interest. I don't care. It has nothing to do with my politics or my world. The reason why it matters is because once that power balance is gone, Israel has a chance at competing with the United States from a power structure scale. That is why. If you cannot understand that,
and they will sell us out. They've already sold us out to the Russians plenty of times.
And they pose a moral hazard as well, because when we step in and we support them, that gears up Russia and China to attack us as well politically. And eventually that can materialize. You don't know where this can ever lead. So I say this to make a greater point. Israel is a moral hazard. So it doesn't matter whether we decapitate this terroristic regime or whatever. If you have a vested interest in American politics, if you have a vested interest in the United States having autonomy over the entire world, especially the Middle East, then it's in your best interest for Iran to exist. It's in your best interest for the Ayatollah to actually oppose Israel and have checks and balances happening in the Middle East, as well as a power balance. If we don't have that, Israel will run wild and destroy the whole region. And that will cause more chaos. That will cause us to have more military intervention in the Middle East. Then boots on ground may actually get introduced. Then we'll go back into trillions of dollars of debt. Then it'll be a second or third or fourth Gulf War. That's the biggest problem. This is going to transpire into something greater if Iran is decapitated. Now that we've killed Ayatollah, there's going to be a power vacuum, and several different factions may try to rise to power. Further destabilization. I don't know how people don't understand this. Look at what happened in Syria. It's literally the same thing. And people say, oh, well, Iraq is different because we had boots on ground and we were there for several years and we didn't have, this quick air swooping campaign where we changed the power structure and everything like that. It doesn't matter whether this war is 4 days, 10 minutes, or 4 years. The outcome is negative for the United States because now there's no power balance in the Middle East. That's the point I'm trying to make. Hopefully that long-winded explanation can bridge the gap for some of these retards who think that I'm being some Iranian apologist. No, I actually have a vested interest in the United States. That's why I have that position. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, people are just very stupid because they don't realize the Israelis will sell us out once the only reason they work with us so closely and do what we say to some degree is because we support them. Once they no longer need us for protection, guys, they're going to sell us out. They've been caught multiple times selling secrets to the Chinese and selling secrets to the Russians. Jonathan Pollard, anybody? And the reason why, guys, by the way, Russia and Israel have a very, they have like a secret partnership. And the reason why is because Russia has lots of Ashkenazi Jews, okay? So for a very long time, what spies would do is they'd say, look, we'll give you secrets, we'll give you American secrets, but you need to let go of these Jewish spies that you guys have, that the Gestapo went and caught up. Cool. We'll let them go. Give us American secrets and we'll give them to you and they can have safe passage to Israel, right? So that's what's that's kind of been the dynamic between Israel and Russia for a while. This is why, honestly, Russia drags their feet when they give the Iranians weapons because of that secret relationship that they have. Well, it's not so secret, but it's kind of, it's almost like a symbiotic relationship, right? And then as far as, Israel becoming the hegemon in the Middle East, I mean, I don't think it's a good thing, man. But again, they want to get that so that they don't have to be as reliant on us because they know the time is ticking and they know that, their time is almost up. Support of Israel has dropped off precipitously over the past 2 to 3 years, ever since October 7th and what they did in Gaza. So they know that they're losing the narrative. This is why they're frantically buying up TikTok, putting leadership into Facebook that's trying to make the term Zionist a protected class so that you can't criticize it and people can get banned for hate speech. They're putting in new anti-Semitism laws, right? And this isn't just in America. They're doing it in Australia as well and in the UK. So they're trying to rewrite the narrative and they're trying to bring back censorship like they did prior to the October 7th war. But now everyone's red pilled. You can't unsee it. So they know that they're operating on borrowed time and that they need to go ahead and get Iran out of there so that they can establish themselves themselves as a world superpower. Make no mistake about it. Their goal is to become a world superpower and take over the Middle East. That's why Mike Huckabee's comments the other day when he said, oh yeah, they should just have it all. Why do you think 14 different Muslim countries condemned Mike Huckabee in the United States for that? Because they know deep down in the back of their mind it's true. That is what the Israelis want. And the scariest part is they can actually do it. Okay?
Yeah. Exactly.
They can actually do it. All these Gulf countries are too pussy to stand up to Israel. So the only country that's really been standing up against them are the Iranians. I'll take it a step further. Me and my brother were discussing this last night. If you go to any Muslim country, right, they're going to tell you that the Ayatollah has more balls than Mohammed bin Salman or the other guy out of who's the head guy in MBZ out of the
Mohammed
UAE.
bin Zayed.
There you go, Mohammed bin Zayed. Like the government these people in these Muslim countries will tell you they respect the government of Iran more than they respect the government of the Gulf. Just being honest with y'all.
They're winning the culture war.
They win the culture war in the Middle East. And you guys don't know this. You might not know this because you guys, maybe you're not Muslim, you're not Arab, you don't know people from that region. But trust me, guys, you go to those areas, they detest the fucking monarchies and the leadership. They just can't say it because they're going to get killed, right? Mohammed bin Salman will kill you for talking shit about him. Ask Khashoggi. You get chopped up in an embassy in Turkey, bro. So, but in general, a lot of them are going to have more support for the Ayatollah because they're the only ones actually standing up for the Palestinians who are Sunni Muslims, the only ones. So it's very important that you guys understand these dynamics in the Middle East because no one talks about this here in the West, but that's how they look at it. Go ahead.
Pay attention to from Israel's inception in 1948, and then you fast forward to the 70s and the 60s and the Yom Kippur War. And Israel has had tensions with the entire region. Now, some of that you can argue has been because of the fact that the Arab neighbors were unhappy with how they annexed Palestinians from their land. Of course, that's the first grievance, and probably that's the most important. That's what started everything. But Israel has had a very specific key interest in removing any sort of power structure in the region that can pose a threat to them militarily or even match their power so Israel can't do what they want. See, it's not a fact of the matter that Saddam Hussein was going to overthrow Israel and destroy them. He knew that wasn't feasible. He even tried to do that with Kuwait, and he didn't get very far. He saw how United States backing and military support can destroy him even via a proxy. And so I don't think that he ever had the plan of invading Israel and destroying it. Yet Israel banked so hard with the clean break strategy in the 96 moving forward to remove him from power, as well as several other leaders in the region. Why? They don't want that power to exist next to them, even if it means they won't attack them. They just don't want to have to compete. They want complete control. That's a red flag, and that's something that should be unsettling. Furthermore, Donald Trump has been the Trojan horse for this campaign. Donald Trump has kind of been the guy to be the front runner for Israel. Obviously, Obama came in, and in 15, when he had left, he set everything up correctly with that JCPOA to ensure that we wouldn't go into any more tension or enter a war in the Middle East with Iran or any other neighbors of Iran. Something important is in 2015, Trump's campaign code was very different to that of what he's doing now. Even in 2024, when he was running again, his campaign code was very different to that of what he was doing now, obviously being no new wars. But in 2015, Trump had this really strong push, this agenda of, no immigrants. We're going to have a strong border. We're going to build a wall. It's going to be America first. We're not going to go into the Middle East. Iraq was a mistake, as I played in my edit earlier. He said all of these things. All these things sounded great. It was like this perfect balance of Republican politics being based anti-immigration without the neoconservatism. And so a lot of people thought, man, this Trump guy is pretty good. He's got my vote. What did Trump do when he got into office? Immediately tarnished the deal that guaranteed safety and peace in the region that he promised he would pull out of from. Why? Because he had vested donors, vested interests, lobbyists who told him, if you want to win this election and you want to maintain power, you better do it as we say. Secondly, in 2024, you guys have to remember, Trump was getting prosecuted, not only from the state level, but federally as well. And he was dealing with a lot of problems. He was dealing with indictments, the whole thing. My brother's broken it down in detail.
He was getting sued civilly. Yeah. He was getting,
it was a nightmare. Trump knew, by the way, guys, Trump is somebody who's obsessed with power. You should read books on him. He's a very narcissistic, like, I have to win at everything kind of person. So that's something important to bear in mind, because that plays relevance. Yeah, that is why he's so successful. But that's also what is hurting the United States right now, because Trump banked on power, and Trump wanted to win the presidency in 2024, I think, to get himself out of that legal issue. Legality, from a legal perspective, I think that Trump knew that he was in deep waters, and he had to win this presidential race if it meant him maintaining his freedom. Here's the thing. This was an opportunity for lobbyists this to get in Trump's ear and say, listen, we know you have a lot of problems and we know you want to win this race. We'll make sure it happens, but you must go to war with Iran and you must decapitate the Ayatollah. That's why Trump is doing this. I think a lot of people are confused and going, well, why is Trump, getting involved in the Middle East? What's the benefit? I don't see why he would do this. It's because that's what won him the presidency, was the promise of doing these exact things that he's doing in the Middle East right now. If he did not fulfill these promises that he gave to these Jewish donors and these oligarchs like Bill Ackman and Larry Ellison and all these other guys, well, then Trump would have never won and he'd probably be behind bars right now. Again, I don't think that Trump really went hard in 2024 for the sake of American people or being this diehard patriot. I think it was more of, I need to save my own ass and I'll do anything to make sure that happens. That's why we're at fucking war with Iran right now. So because I see a couple people mentioning the fact that Trump is in a tough position and Trump knew that this was the plan all along. And honestly, it seemed like he tried to string it along and drag it and avoid it. But I would imagine Benjamin Netanyahu probably called him up and said, hey, if you don't get, yeah, exactly. If you don't take matters or if you don't deal with this, we'll take matters